First question here comes from 5-star review from Kopi5. He asks, I have an idea for QBs or anyone else with the ball to be able to give themselves up on a play. We were talking about this a couple weeks ago, and I love this. Why not just give the fair catch signal?
Bring this up.
There is no situation where a ball carrier would ever wave their hand above their head, and it is an immediate and obvious signal that is already in the game. I think you could legislate that the nearest defender must be 3 to 5 yards away to be flagged for contact. It allows for a ball carrier to clearly signal they've given themselves up while still allowing them to brace for incidental contact from an athletic position instead of a compromised position of a slide or a dive. It also be very institute a penalty for a fake wave where they wave but don't go above shoulder level like they've done on punt returns in the past. Keep up the great work, guys. I love that, actually. And I feel like an idiot because I thought about this for a while and didn't think of that when it's literally already in the game.
Just raise your hand.
That's already what we say to people who are coming down on punt returns. Now, there's still guys that get hit, but it's more they get hit because I think they don't see the signal because they're not in the middle. But most times, if you are in the middle of a game, someone's running at you and your hand goes up, I mean, like that seems like it'd be pretty evident not to hit. And then it would leave the quarterback, mainly it'd be quarterbacks, in a position where should the defender still launch, it's like, well, then you can kind of get out of the way because you're on your feet and you're still on balance. I kind of like it.
Who's the first receiver that would use it? We're going to name it on the 3 count. 1, 2, 3. Tyler Lockett.
I'm trying to say, yeah, he would definitely use it.
Oh, I love that. That means
he gets down
Tyler Lockett, smart, and he owns up to why he does it. He's like, look, I'm gonna get my yards and get
I'm
down.
170, bro.
Yeah, honestly, there's a reason Tyler Lockett's been doing it for so long because he's a smart dude. That was funny.
That's great. But
I like this rule. He's hired. Roger Goodell's calling him right now. He's hired.
Love it. Kopi 5.
That's great.
I don't see the downside. I mean, in terms of versus sliding, it's just you're not as vulnerable.
Yeah, your head's not going towards the earth.
And yeah, exactly. The places you want to not be vulnerable.
Fulcrumed by a planet. I like it.
I do wonder, as a defender, would it be easier to notice a hand going up and stopping?
It depends, man. Sometimes all you see is red when you're rushing it back. So
I know that feeling.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I didn't know what I thought he was trying to make a move.
But I feel only after you're going to be out there like.
You got to name that thing.
That was my name. That was my no.
You got to name that thing.
Oh, okay. I had to get it in.
All right. Next question comes from Mr. Ed 315. He says, which NFL teams, coaches, and front office personnel are richly deserving of lumps of coal from Santa this holiday season?
You go ahead, bud.
Tis the season, call them out. I nominated one for each of these. The team that I think deserves a lump of coal is the New York Jets. Sorry. Okay, but you know this.
I'm not against that.
From the owner down, I honestly think the guy who comes out smelling the best from this is Robert Saleh.
I've been trying to tell you, I've been saying that for the longest.
Yeah, truly.
Hiring him made no sense.
So yeah,
the Packers have been on a heater since he showed up.
I think that
he played really well.
No.
Goodness gracious.
They deserve a lump of coal from the top down again. Coach, to me, Lou Anarumo, I gassed him up when he was doing so well for those back-to-back championship games. This is unacceptable. I don't care that your personnel isn't what you wanted. This is truly unacceptable. We're getting notes in here.
Yeah, dude. What a day we have.
Okay.
All good?
Thank you.
All right.
Everybody's safe in the parking lot.
His car's alive. But Lou Anarumo, just like, it can't go that bad. You can't be the reason why you don't make the playoffs when you have one of the best offenses in the NFL. Quarterback who's going to win the yardage and touchdown title. First player to do that since Tom Brady in 2021. And I think they won the Super Bowl.
Do you send
the year after the Super Bowl?
Because clearly Anarumo, they're going to go get his thumbs. They're going to get him out of there.
He's gone.
Are they going to send an Italian guy to do this? Is it going to be an Italian on Italian hit?
Interesting to see who they actually bring in as D coordinator there. I get.
Well, they need some defensive players too.
Is going to be
get Trey some help.
Me and Mike broke this down the other day. They've been abysmal.
Get Trey some help.
The last
so bad.
It's Dick Tobin. What's his name? Dick Tobin?
Duke Tobin.
Duke Tobin.
Tobin, yeah.
Get him out of there.
Ooh. He's been really bad after the last couple of years.
Come on.
Yes.
When you drive Burrow and Chase, you're not probably going to.
Yeah, but that's kind of like a no-brainer.
They didn't fire him when they went so south in 2019.
Kind of a no-brainer, right?
Like
well, if we're going to say longevity is security, then I can't say anything bad about the Bears.
Well, it's Cincinnati. It's a different. They're like the Bears, but cheaper somehow.
Jeez. Okay, so teams, coaches, and front office.
My front office was Trent Baalke. The Jags GM. Just unbelievable what he did to a franchise that 2 years ago should have been on a trajectory to like AFC Championship games.
Correct.
Jerry Jones. They should put sugar or salt in his what ruins gas tanks in his yacht. They should put some.
Yeah, sugar is the thing.
Sugar. Put it in there. That's my answer. I'm not going to call out the Bears today.
All right, next question comes from MBeal13 on X. He says, will the Commanders win 2 of their last 3 to secure a playoff spot? They play Philly, they play Atlanta.
They're going to win 2 of their last 3.
They don't even necessarily need to win 2 of them.
I think they just got to win 1.
They just got to win 1.
Yeah.
They're going to lose to Atlanta. They're going to win on Sunday Night Football, and they're going to beat
so you think they're beating Philly?
No, they're going to lose to Philly. Sorry, and they're going to beat Atlanta.
Oh, okay. I was about to say.
I picked Philly on the show yesterday.
Atlanta game at Atlanta. No, it's not the Commanders. I think
it's Sunday Night Football. Either way,
Michael Penix though.
Jaden Daniels does better in primetime, in my opinion.
Michael Penix.
I think there's Daniels. That's actually going to be a great game.
It's going to be a really good game. I can't wait for that game.
Yeah. All right. Next question comes from MBM87 Matthias. There we go. What was your position on Joey Porter coming out of PSU? He is frustrating because his mentality and frame should suggest he should be a very physical corner, yet he lacks strength and gets bullied at the point of contact. I think he's good, but not sure if he's number 1. What say you? I was very encouraged by his rookie year, and coming out, I was higher on him than where he went. I believe he went 32nd. He was your pick, the Bears pick from the whatever trade.
Oh, he was a trade.
Chase Claypool trade pick.
Claypool, great move.
So I had him like higher than that. I didn't have him higher than like Christian Gonzalez. I had him higher than Emmanuel Forbes. I thought he was a first-round player because he is 34-inch arms.
Yeah,
it was strong in college. You watched him against the Ohio State wide receiver.
Man, that was teach tape.
And he just, locked up Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave. He put him in a blanket at the line of scrimmage.
Blender.
So I thought he should have been. I don't know what happened from year 1 to year 2 because year 1 was encouraging for a rookie. He is now, since he entered the starting lineup for the Pittsburgh Steelers, averaged more than a penalty a game.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. It's 15 penalties this year, 5 more than any other corner.
It's the George Pickens effect. He has to go against George Pickens in practice all the time.
It might be.
Dude, I'm telling you, when you are a dominant player, if you're a good player and you end up having another really great player coming in, there's one of 2 ways this thing can go. It's either you get shot mentally,
for sure,
or you become an absolute like Navy SEAL on the football field.
Like what Antonio Brown used to do for the corners at training camp.
That shit matters. And I've seen clips of George Pickens and Joey Porter going at it, and Pickens will moss him, and then he'll hand him the football.
Yeah, he will.
I'm like, that has an effect on people. I don't know. Mike is the authority here.
It honestly might be because his drop off this year has been head scratching. He was very good as a rookie. It really was just if he can cut down the penalties. Now he obviously hasn't.
But that's the thing. He's always, even at Penn State, he was always handsy. So that was the thing. And I think he hasn't really, I would say, changed the way he's played in regards to how the league is calling some of these handsy DPIs or holding calls, and it's affected him this year. And I think also, like you said, Mike, it was so encouraging what he did last year. I think there was a lot of hype, in the offseason about him and him being a true number 1 corner that sometimes it's hard to live up to that expectation. And now
people know.
Yeah, and now you're reeling, right? Because now you're trying to live up to that bill, right? So he's got to be able to change his game a little bit in regards to being so handsy at the line of scrimmage. And I know Dante Jackson went down. We'll see his health status this week. That could be big because Pittsburgh has a gauntlet of a schedule. Now they're already in, but they have a gauntlet.
And they ain't healthy.
Yeah, I don't know if he's ever going to be also like a true shutdown. He's more of like a boomer bust press guy where he'll eliminate enough routes at the line of scrimmage that you can't consistently look his way, but he will get beat on a number of occasions.
You'll get your opportunities.
All right, next question comes from Bongo. Is the gap between Patrick Surtain and the next best corner, or even DB, the biggest in the league across positions? If not, what other ones would you consider?
That's a really good question.
Stingley, you would have to consider.
Stingley's up there right now.
Stingley is playing out of his world right now. His ball skills are second to none in the league right now. Like, again, I still don't understand why quarterbacks continue to throw the ball up in his direction because he's more than likely going to come down with it. I mean, perfect example is how he closed the game out versus Miami. Like, Tyreek Hill should have come down with that football, but he ripped it away from him at the top of the route. So it's just like his ball skills are second to none. I will say Patrick Surtain is probably CB1 this year, but Stingley, I would say, I don't think the gap is as big as Bongo thinks it is.
Are all three of the last names we've mentioned between those defensive secondary players, are they all kids of players?
Ooh, that's a good question. They are.
Well, who was the other one?
And Porter.
Porter. Yeah. Jeez.
That's crazy.
Race-driven league.
Wow.
I think Fred Warner at linebacker.
Jamar Chase.
Even if he probably hasn't been as hot as he was early in the season, I think Fred Warner still, compared to the next best linebacker, might be the biggest.
Yeah.
Be the next best linebacker.
I'm thinking in terms of receivers, Jamar Chase.
Justin Jefferson?
Bro, Jamar Chase. Like,
he's got Joe Burrow.
He's got O'Connell.
You can't disrespect.
I do think Chase right now is probably one, but it's also tight. Like it's not. There's not
the certain thing is probably big. Yeah,
this is a great question.
I like this. It has us going down a rabbit hole. I like it.
I'm thinking about rushers.
I'm thinking about linebackers now.
Linemen.
Because
who would be number 2 at linebacker? I do think it's Fred Warner, who's like true.
I mean, I would say last year would have been Roquan, but this year that's not the case.
Man, oh man. This is like a sit down for an hour in a room and think about it and write some stuff down and come back in type question.
Get a whiteboard up and just start.
Bongo, Brad Garden.
That's a good one.
Dang, I'm stumped right now.
I'm just bullish on Jamar Chase.
No, 100. What he's done this year, like he's literally about to be the 5th player since the 1970 merger to win the Triple Crown.
Justin Jefferson's amazing.
That's elite space he's about to be in.
I've often said that Justin Jefferson is probably the most likable superstar in the National Football League. Sure. Like you can't say one bad thing about Justin Jefferson.
See, I like George Pickens, so
yeah, I know you
he's
do.
The most likable.
You're the anti-hero.
Yes.
George Pickens is Hancock. Like he wakes up in a bus on a mountain somewhere, and he looks at his phone. He's like, "Shit, more people."
That's a great city. Is Hancock?
That's amazing.
He's Hancock.
That's amazing.
Throws a whale off the beach and kills a boat.
Literally, you have the whole ocean, and you hit this sailboat out here.
Okay.
All right. Next question comes from Parking Grandma. Do you think college football has to return to making players sit out 1 year if they transfer?
Yes.
Do we do it like you get one free pass?
So, that's always been my rule. You get one free transfer, and then, just because, family issues.
You were 17 when you made this college. Yeah, grown up, gained some perspective.
Exactly. So you get one free transfer, and then after that, you should have to sit out a year.
And like I'm on Instagram last night scrolling through, and I see one of these accounts showing Quinn Ewers. He's talking about this team offered him $13 million.
Yeah, transfer, right?
And I'm like, this is just free agency every year for these guys.
Transfers for a second time.
It's every
third
semester.
school.
It's the highest bidder.
Every semester. It's not once a year. It's every semester.
You get every semester.
It's brutal.
Now they're talking about,
and some people do that.
Yes, you can literally transfer like before the spring ball.
So I'm a quarterback. $26 million if 13 is the number each semester.
And some people have to do it out of necessity because they're just like they show up, they don't go to class for a year, and they're obviously the next year they'd be academic ineligible, and so they have to go somewhere else that will make them eligible. It's like insane.
Just go to Saddleback College in South Orange County and tell Coach Crab I sent you, and go win yourself a California State championship. And I promise you, if you're good enough, you'll end up in the National Football League. All right.
All right. Next,
go help those guys.
And final question comes from Darren, and I love this one because it is actually an interesting thought experiment. Is college football a threat to the NFL? They're playing the players. They have GMs. They don't have a salary cap. What's to prevent them from taking the next step? Next step being unlimited eligibility. Guys just don't have to.
That would be insane. Why even call it college? Just call it semi-pro.
Because but it could if they do. We have Cam Rising on year 8 now that he's going into his same recruit.
I was so glad that's why Alan Bowman decided that he was going to leave. I'm like,
the Oklahoma State guy.
Yeah, it's like, dude, what are we doing here? Like,
he's in his 18th year of school.
The thing that I hate about this is that it's really hurting the development of players that eventually will be in the league.
Yeah.
Right. And I get it for some guys, right? Because they'll essentially be taking a pay cut to go to NFL. Like a guy like Dylan Gabriel, who's most likely going to go like 3rd, 4th round.
Pay cut.
He's taking a pay cut to come to the league.
That's incredible.
Which is crazy. So I get it. Like I have a 6 year. I'm going to get a couple mil. And then
how much do you think Dylan Gabriel's making?
This year, he's probably making like 3 at least, 3 or 4.
How much do these backup? I know I hate to be in somebody's pockets, but Chase Daniel made a killer.
Yeah, when you get to the NFL, but that's
like you got to get to your second contract to do that. Yeah, that's not guaranteed.
And plus, once you get to your second contract quarterback, you're playing until you're 35 anyway.
Yeah,
there's not. it's
like
not
Chase
that
was
big a
blessed
deal.
enough to,
Whereas if you're a running
to
back,
go to perfect situations would be the backup and never have to actually play.
Running backs could legitimately be stealing money from themselves if they don't go to the league and get that second contract.
Are there a lot of O-lineman transfers? Are there as many transfers from the O-line as there are like this guy?
It's every position now, bro.
Not as much. But
he's got the.
He had 4 different high schools.
Bear Alexander has the Georgia tattoo with the Penn State jersey and a USC avatar profile picture.
I mean, that is a microcosm of the world we live in now.
And something's got to be done.
You're not. Nobody's taken over the NFL.
Correct. They're not allowed.
The NFL has taken over. Yeah. Okay, and that's just that's the way it is.
The problem is the dollar figures just still aren't there the way they are in the NFL.
Correct.
So the top end,
you could eliminate money like Liv.
You could eliminate eligibility rules, and you could pay some guys and convince them to stay in college longer. Maybe some like running backs, right? Who are. Yeah. But you can't compete with the NFL because they still make more money than you. You know, the NFL still makes a lot more than you do as college
feels
football.
Like PGA and Liv.
Yeah.
If you got the right backing, this concept with the right backing could
that's
be
what I do. That's probably my biggest worry is a Liv appearing though. Is Saudi money because they have just stupid money.
A couple sheiks start getting into pigskin and they're
Deshaun Watson partnering with Bono, Shire, or whatever.
My gosh,
and it's creating the leagues that they just have. They would be able to pay. I mean, we saw what the Liv contracts were. They would be able to fork over an insane amount of money and then make it a global game that they're putting these games in
the Premier League of.
That's what I fear
the PFL,
because then that would obviously take
league.
America's game away from America, which I hate.
You can take it, pry it from my dead face.
So that to me is probably
come and get them.
If there's a threat to the NFL, that to me is the biggest threat. College could sneak some players in for longer eligibility in college, but it won't degrade the NFL game.
Correct. I mean, the only thing I think is just hurt the development of guys in regards to going to the NFL because there's not guys that stay in one system and actually develop. They're changing systems year in and year out, and that hurts them when they get to the next level and have to stay in one system to be a quarterback, to be a running back, to be an offensive lineman.
It's a relationship business. And if you struggle to stay in these relationships at the university level, I promise you it's going to be even harder when you get to the National Football League. And you can tell the guys who struggle relationally, they struggle to have success in the NFL, and they don't have that support system inside the locker room.
And right now, just how it's set up with college, if they don't implement any sort of rules around whether it's transfer portal, NIL, unless they have any regulations, if it's still the Wild West for the next, say, half decade, they're losing fans. They will lose fans.
Yeah.
It's just the game will not grow. It's in this current incantation when you have to have a new roster every single year and new players, you're no longer what made college football the unique product that it was, different from the NFL. You become a minor league, and then you're no different from UFL.
When we used to get guys drafted, and same way as you, when we would get guys drafted and there would be a guy from Alabama, I knew who he was before I got to see him play because I understood the kind of program Nick Saban ran and how guys would stick it out and ride the bench for a while for an opportunity to play at the highest level. Or we'd get a kid from Georgia, and I knew the style of play they would have, like Roquan Smith, for example. I'm talking about Roquan, I'm talking about Eddie Jackson.
Correct.
These are guys that grinded their way to the top of those those programs, became the leaders, and then they got to the NFL. Nowadays, you draft a guy from Penn State, and he could have a USC tattoo on. And I don't know who the hell that guy is, is my point.